different animals. Man, let me tell you something. A Spaniard to sleep with an Indian woman was like a disgrace to himself. Today, the Spaniard, if you tell a Spaniard that he's Mexican, right away his reaction is, hell no, I ain't no goddamn Mexican. To them, it's an offense to tell them that they're Mexican. You know what I'm saying? They see us as less than they are. Spaniards and Mexicans, we are not the same race. We are not brothers. And let me tell you something. You know that we are not brothers because our traditions, a tradition comes from a long time ago. Like, you know who you are because of your traditions. Like, for instance, my brothers in America, my Negro brothers in America don't have the same customs as the Africans do.
Right. Damn sure don't.
Right. They do not eat dirt pies. They do not take cow piss. You know what I'm saying? There's certain things that you know any of those customs that they have.
And Salaki, if I may add, I don't know anyone, and I spoke to a lot of brothers about this same subject. I don't know anyone that could say that in their family, if they're a brother from the hood, a brother from down south or whatever, I asked them in a minute, man. Anybody in your family ever had plate lips? Anybody ever put plate lips in your face?
A custom from the
African. Cut their face. Did you ever get the urge to just cut your skin and make little flowers on your skin? You know, I think it was a Nigerian or Congo. The girl was from Congo. She had like leaves, ferns, like the fern plant. It's like a damn near tattoo, a perfect tattoo of a fern all over her arm, and her flesh was pushed out. And it made a pattern. I asked them, do they do that? I said, do any brothers ever go to little Ethiopia, and go down there and they embrace you? None of my brothers ever said that they did. They didn't embrace me when I was in Ethiopia.
Right.
Little Ethiopia here in America.
Right.
Or Nigeria.
Right. So I'm going to prove to Mexican people that you don't have a drop of Spaniard in you. And you know how? Very simple. By your customs. By your traditions.
Right.
The Mexican people, throughout all the centuries, including Aztecs, all the way from there, had a different tradition than the Spaniards. So it's very simple. I'm going to show you how you're not Spaniard. Like, for instance, if you're Mexican, have you ever had gazpacho? You don't even know what the hell gazpacho is. If you knew what gazpacho was, you'd be like, yeah, my mom makes gazpacho. But don't know Mexicans make gazpacho. How about patas bravas? You ever eat patas bravas? Of course not. Because that's not Mexican food. You don't even know what the hell patas bravas are. How about pisto? You know what you think pisto is? You think pisto is drinking beer. Pisto is a food that the Spaniard made. Gabas al ajillo. You know what gabas al ajillo is? Of course you don't know what gabas al ajillo is. Because you ain't Spaniard. That's why you don't eat that. How about croquette? Or turón? Or crema catalán? Or chivos al food? Or polvao a feria? You know what I'm saying? You know why you don't fabada asturiana. You know why you don't know what these foods are? You don't know these foods because they're not from your country. Padron peppers, they're not from your country. These are foods that Spaniards make. Now you tell a Spaniard, hey, ¿comes tacos? A Spaniard would tell you, no man, I don't eat tacos. O burritos? No man, I don't eat burritos. Frijoles de la olla? Hell no, I don't eat frijoles de la olla. You know what I'm saying? Birria? No, I don't eat birria. Chivo? I don't eat chivo. You know why? Because these foods are Mexican food. These are the traditions that our ancestors gave to us. And your mom, your grandma, all your family, they give you these foods. Birria is goat stew. And this goat stew is found in the Bible, in the Old Testament. The Lord told us to make that food. Man, if you had that, if anybody has that precept on how to cook the lamb, when we came out of Egypt, bring that out. And I'm going to show you how this traditional food known as birria is not Spaniard, it's Mexican. You know what I'm saying? Tortillas are Mexican. Gorditas are Mexican. Pupusas are Mexican. Salvadoreños, right? Salvadoranian. So this is Mexican food. Turón, croquette, all this stuff. Even paella. And a lot of Mexicans know what paella is. But paella is a Spaniard food. It's not a Mexican food. You know what I'm saying? So this is how we know through our traditions who we are. So when they come and tell you, hey man, you're half Spaniard. Man, I never ate a goddamn Spaniard food in my life. I don't even go to these Spaniard restaurants. When they say, oh, food from Spain, I go straight to food from Tijuana. You know what I'm saying? I bypass all that. Right. I go straight to my own people's food because, I'll eat tacos every goddamn day and not get sick of them.
That's right.
I'll eat burritos daily and not get sick of them. Tortillas is a daily in my house. Tortillas and beans and rice, man, daily. Like it's a must. Like every time I go to the store, I'm bringing back beans, tortillas, and rice and beer, right?
Right.
Yeah, damn right. Corona, Corona familiar, because why? Because those are our foods. Those are our traditions. Those are the things that have been passed on to us. You got it?
Come.
Okay, so let me break down birria de chivo. So sometimes if you're from Jalisco, even Michoacán, you know what birria is. Birria de borrego, birria de chivo. This is a plate that's famous, man. I took my brothers, all of my UPK brothers, the generals, Commanding General Yahana. I took them all down to East LA and we went to eat a famous plate, birria, and it's made out of roasted goat. And I took them because I told Commanding General Yahana and General Hazayan, you know what? This plate here, Adawan, is a specialty plate that's made in my country, especially in my state of Jalisco, because we're originated from Jalisco. And I told him, and I found that this plate is cooked today as it was in the Bible. I don't know how many, man, thousands of years ago, right? When we came out of Egypt.
Salak, and if I might add, he took me to the same place. Adawan took me to the same place. We had a good time. That is delicious.
That's right.
It was delicious. It's biblical.
Hey, man, I take all my brothers.
Straight biblical.
Yeah, my brothers got it. When you come here, man, you're going to go eat birria with me. You got to have the goat. Okay, so
right.
So let's see if the brother has it. And modelos, damn right, sister. Modelos.
I was just about to say
that.
Yeah,
Modelos. You got it
damn right, sis.
On point. Okay, go ahead. Let's read that.
This is Exodus chapter 12, verse 4.
Exodus chapter 12, verse 4. Read.
And if the household be too little for the land,
okay. Go ahead.
Okay, verse 5. Your lamb shall be without blemish.
So first of all, we knew that the lamb would be without blemish. You know what? I like eating chivo because goat is not an animal that everybody eats. You don't go anywhere and they don't have goat. Nobody has goat because goat to them like, I ain't gonna eat goat. That's like I don't know.
So like I might add this, I knew a female when I was back in the world when she told me she was dating these other guys. They were Judites, and they were like, she would take them to a Jamaican restaurant and she'd order some curry goat, and they'd be like, oh man, I can't eat that.
Hey, right.
I can't eat that. Sis.
Right.
I'm not eating. And she asked me, do you eat goat? I was like, oh hell yeah, I eat goat. Yeah. Let's go.
Right.
I love that goat.
And so goat is a specialty animal that, is breeded correctly. It's a family type because Mexicans, they have goats running around the backyard all damn day. Right. In Mexico, my family, man, we used to play with the goats. You ever had the little goats come and ram you with their head, They don't have no horns yet, but they're trying to hit you. We used to love that, man. We used to love the goat. Continue reading.
Come. A male of the first year, ye shall take it out from the sheep, or from the goats.
Or from the what?
Goats.
Or from the goats. Read.
Come. Verse 6. And ye shall keep it up until the 14th day of the same month. Right. And the whole assembly of the congregation of Israel shall kill it in the evening.
And so what you're hearing now is the Passover. And you know that day is coming up. We're about to have the Passover, and just the way it describes here, that's the way the generals and the brothers over there in the East Coast are preparing our meal today. They're getting that lamb ready for the Passover. Continue reading.
Come. Verse 7. And they shall take of the blood and strike it on the two side posts and on the upper door goat post, and the upper door post of the houses wherein they shall eat it.
Continue reading to where it says how to prepare it. Yeah, where it says how to prepare it.
Verse 8.
I want to hear how to prepare this goat. Read.
And they shall eat the flesh in that night, roast with fire.
Roasted with what?
Fire.
Roasted with fire. So where I go to take the brothers and everything, they have a pit made out of a brick, and they roast the goat in that pit. This is a tradition all the way back from the Aztec times, known as chivo, and it was made like this, roasted in fire. Continue reading.
And unleavened bread.
And unleavened bread. To us, unleavened bread is corn tortilla. Corn tortilla is made unleavened. It's a flat tortilla, flat bread. Continue reading.
That's right.
And with bitter herbs they shall eat it.
And with bitter herbs they shall eat it. You know what the bitter herbs is for Mexicans? Chile, salsa, picante, cilantro, cebolla. This is what we eat it with. We make our chivo. We make it with what we call consume, which is the juice, and we add the spices of cilantro and onions. And on the side we put this salsa, which is a little bitter, but it's excellent. Continue reading.
Verse 9, eat not of it raw.
And we never eat it raw. Let me tell you, when me and my wife go eat it, we always tell her, we use these words. They ask the waitress to tell me, I know how you want it. You want costilla quemada, which means burnt ribs. Because we love that roasted rib when it's nice and burnt inside that oven. So we eat it just the way it is in the Bible. I never realized it. And I've been in there since I was, 10 years old. And I never realized that plate that I was eating and the way I ate it was in the Bible, the Old Testament. Continue reading.
Nor sodden at all with water, but roast with fire.
Roasted with fire. The way you make birria is roasted in a brick oven under fire. Continue reading.
His head with his legs and with the prudence thereof.
His head and his legs and with everything thereof, right? Continue reading.
I think that's it.
That's it? Let me tell you something. The legs, we known as, they're called, translated into English, they're called guns, pistolas, because it's the large portion of the leg, which is known as pistolitas. And you eat them like that with salsa, burnt in oven, with unleavened bread known as tortillas. That's us. That's a tradition that Hispanic people have that make... Oh, continue.
That's what I like it. Oh. Verse 10. And ye shall let nothing of it remain until the morning.
And you shall leave nothing of it remain until the morning. Let me tell you something. When we go eat this birria, we leave nothing. That plate is completely clean. I've seen brothers, scrape it with the tortilla. They might as well wash that. They don't need to wash that plate because that plate is strict clean. Continue reading.
Okay. And that which remaineth of it until the morning, ye shall burn with fire.
So the Lord said we're going to burn whatever remains, get rid of whatever it is that was left. We weren't going to take anything. That's for the Passover. I think that's going to do it.
Salaki,
go ahead.
I want to add something. It's a kind of a Judite thing to go to do barbecue, right? So when we barbecue, what I can always remember is that I love my franks burnt.
Right.
I love when I that little burn on that charcoal. And anybody from the old school, a lot of y'all like that. A lot of y'all Judites like it when it's burnt a little bit. When you out there barbecuing. Did that come from the Bible? Well, I tell you what, the Edomites like they stuff raw. When the blood is still dripping on. That's some nasty, disgusting stuff. We like ours thoroughly cooked because that's close to be biblical.
Sherry Walker just put up a point. She says that in Mexico, our people are trying to be, they're trying to, remove us from reuniting from the so-called Negroes. Sister, you have a good point, but that's what the ISUPK is here for.
Damn right.
We've been called out to reunite our brothers and sisters in this truth right here. That's why I'm sitting side by side with my brother CHAAZAQ, and we here every week. And why are we here? We're here to make sure that you say is happening can never take place.
Right.
We're here to bring our brothers together once again. Let me go into our story. Once again, we're talking about how Spain, and I just side noted there, but we're talking about how how Mexico has called Spain to apologize for what they did to Mexico during the conquest of the Spaniards. And I'm going to read a little bit more on this newspaper that I got here. And it says like this: as the 500th anniversary of the 1521 Spanish conquest of the Aztecs nears, Mr. López Obrador, which is the president of Mexico today, proposed that the two men ask forgiveness for the abuses inflicted on the indigenous people of Mexico. But what he may not have expected was the blowback his proposal received on both sides of the Atlantic. In Spain, the socialist government of Prime Minister Pedro Sánchez rejected the idea. Foreign Minister Joseph Borrell said it was weird to receive now this request for an apology for events that occurred 500 years ago. Let me tell you something. That should sicken anybody. On the Spanish right, the response was even chillier, it says. Campaigning ahead of next month's general election, Pablo Casado, which is a Spaniard, the leader of the Conservative Popular Party, described the Mexican demand as an affront to the Spanish people. Spain, he said, should instead celebrate with pride its historical role in Mexico, the way great nations do it, those that have contributed to the discovery of other people. So the Spaniards are trying to say that they did Mexico a favor by conquering us. The Spaniards are trying to say that they don't need to apologize ever to the Mexican people for what they did when they went and committed atrocities on our people. Let me tell you something. For all those Mexican people who think, and let me finish reading this. The history of modern Mexico goes back to 1519, when the Spanish conquistador Hernán Cortés disembarked on the Gulf Coast and began his march towards the great Aztec capital, Tenochtitlan. It fell 2 years later. They destroyed this place. The indigenous people did not fall prey only to the brutality and the subjugation of the conquerors. They were also decimated by European diseases, particularly smallpox. So let me tell you something. People should be aware that Mexican people, we've been destroyed by these people known as the Spaniards.
That's right.
The same thing that happened to my black brothers, the Judites in America, the same thing that happened to my Native American Indian brothers in America happened to my Mexican people across Latin America.
Damn right.
Not only in Mexico, but in Central and South America. And let me tell you something. The sad part is that today, these people continue doing that to us to this day. Our children are being held in these damn concentration camps known as detention centers, and they have no compassion for our children or our people.
Right.
These people are monsters.
Right.
And you know how I know they are? Because of the response that they've given to the Mexican people about saying, hey, you know what? Your people committed atrocities on our people. And you, Mr. President of Spain, are a descendant, direct descendant of these people that did that to our people. And you know what? He refuses to give an apology. On the contrary, this Spaniard bastard says that he did us a favor by wiping out our people with chickenpox.
Salaki, if I might add, Adawan, you know, that's the same thing that Kanye West said about slavery. It was a choice. That's the same thing that they're trying to teach in the public schools to our children. That it was a transatlantic migration, Salaki. A transatlantic migration. So when my forefathers came here in chains and was thrown off these ships and was beaten and molested and killed, it was a choice to do that.
Right.
So that there proves our brotherhood as being Judites and Issacharites, Mexicans and blacks,
right,
Puerto Ricans, Cubans. No matter which way you slice it, we brothers. We went through the same goddamn thing, man.
And let me tell you something. You know why this is so important? Because never in history has this ever come out. We're living at an appointed time. Not only is the ISUPK out spreading the word, not only did Commanding General Yohanna bring together the Black, Hispanic, and Native American Indian under one banner, not only has the Bible come back into our hands and into truth, but the nations are speaking out on the atrocities that were committed on Black, Hispanics, and Native American Indians. How can you not think this is not an appointed time when history is coming out with everything that has happened to these people? And it's coming out not from us, but it's coming out from these nations that were destroyed like that. If you come into this into my thread and you ignore what's going on, it's because you have no spirit, you have no soul. You are just an ignorant person, and you're better off walking with the dead than learning what's going on with your people. And let me tell you something. I'm going to continue reading this letter that was written by this newspaper in Spain. It goes on to say like this: Mr. López Obrador, the president of Mexico, wrote the letters, he said, on Monday, in the spirit of reconciliation ahead of the commemoration of the conquest and the 200th anniversary of the year Mexico achieved independence from Spain. So we're coming up to 200 years of independence from Spain. And with this, the president of Mexico decided, hey, you know what? Let's go ahead and, talk about what happened to us. Let's go ahead and bring out what they did to us and try to reconciliate, try to put it across the board and put this behind us. And it continues to say, speaking at an event to commemorate one of the first battles that Cortez fought against the Chontal Maya, Mr. López Obrador, the president of Mexico, said he had asked Spain to acknowledge the brutality of the conquest so that together we can chronicle what happened after the military invasion. But let me tell you something. They don't care about you. They don't care about blacks. You know what? Black people have come up and said, you know what? Blacks need reparations for what America did to them. The Native American Indian has said, you know what? We need to sit down and talk about what happened. You know what? Let me tell you something. You got to understand this. When a woman is raped, right? When a child is molested, when someone is hurt, right? The way to take care of this pain is to speak about it. Right. To come out and acknowledge. Man, when there's a shooting, they tell you, let's sit in a room and come out and talk about it. For you can release, what happened to you. Let me tell you something. Black, Hispanics, and Native American Indians have been living with the atrocities that have happened to them for over 500 years. And the children of those people want to talk about what happened to them. They want to let go of what happened to their ancestors and continue forward and try to put aside what history has hidden from them. Even though it's true, like as a Mexican, what happened to your people. As a black man, what happened to your people. As a Native American Indian, what happened to your people. And you know how you know? Because you live in poverty. Because you live in a condition where people see you and you're living like this. And then you wonder, why am I living like this? And then you research and you find out why you're living like this. Because there was a nation who hated you. There was a nation who hung your ancestors, who hung your great-great-great-grandfather, who raped your great-great-great-grandmother, who murdered your children, They did this to you. And all you want to do, the Mexican president said, let's sit down and reconciliate, man. Let's talk about this. Let's get this out of the way. But you know what the answer of these people is? Edom, the people written in the Bible, they're like, you're ridiculous. You're a joke. We will never say we're sorry for what we did.
Oh, so like I said, if I could, I just wanted to read, a statement that López Obrador made. Saying, he said in, if I could read it, sir.
Go ahead, read.
Okay. he made the remarks in a video filmed at the ruins of the indigenous city of Comalcalco and posted on Facebook and Twitter. There were massacres and oppression. The so-called conquest was waged with the sword and the cross. They built their churches on top of the indigenous temples, added the anti-establishment leftists. The time has come to reconcile, but let us ask forgiveness first. Spain's rejection was immediate and blunt.
You see that? Let me tell you something. The Catholic churches in Mexico were built on top of ancient pre-Hispanic temples. Every single church that exists in Mexico, to all Mexicans' ignorances, they murdered those people and then built those churches on top of them. And we go to church every goddamn Sunday and give that priest our money. And that priest in exchange rapes your children, molests your children, takes your money. And then when you tell him, hey man, we're trying to get some kind of, we're trying to work things out here, he tells you you're crazy. And when they tell him, hey man, that pope, that priest, that bishop raped the children of this church, the Catholic Church says, man, he's been forgiven for his sins. And they move him to another place and put somebody else in his place. Oh, go ahead, Oscar. Let Oscar go. Go ahead.
I got a precept.
Read.
Zechariah 11:5. Whose possessors slay them and hold themselves not guilty.
Whose possessors slay them. There are possessors, man, and they hold themselves not guilty. What is that precept?
Zechariah 11:5.
Zechariah 11:5. The Bible knew. Zechariah knew that this was going to happen to us. He knew who he was dealing with. He knew these people are nothing but evil, hating, self-loving bastards that rob, rape, and destroy our people. Go ahead,
CHAAZAQ, if I might add, that's an excellent topic you bring out. Just this morning, I was listening to Cross the Line Radio with Captain CHAAZAQ. A brother called in out there from New York. He explained in his lifetime how he got molested by a priest. He was with a group of young boys. It was in a school, a Catholic school, and he said that they had a game. The game was called Jump on the Other Brother. So they had the little cruel boys jump on one boy. He said he was about 11 years old at the time. 11. And he said that they said pull his pants down. They said pull his pants down. And they said play with his parts. Right? So this happened to this young boy, and he ran. He explained that he had ran after that, and then nobody saw him. Today he's 60 years old. He called in on Cross the Line Radio. I didn't mean to bring it all out, Ottawa CHAAZAQ, but I had to bring this out because I know you want to bring this out. This is about molestation and of the Catholic Church, like what we're talking about in this topic right here, right now. Now this brother said that to this day he had never told anybody. That's how much shame and guilt and sadness and mourning this brother had. He didn't tell anybody except for one of his partners told him. He asked him, he said, well, we knew that was going on. The Pope or whatever he was, whoever that Catholic molester was giving new sneakers to these kids. The sister, he knew a sister that lived across the street, and the sister said, watch, they're coming out the church right, it was a school, but it was still a Catholic school. They were coming out to school right now. Look at their sneakers. They got on brand new sneakers, and he was an eyewitness to this.
Right.
And the brother went on, he was a strong man because he went on to have a wife and kids, but not many brothers could do that.
Right.
That's a psychological damage, man.
Right. And you know what, CHAAZAQ, I'll tell you why he could do that. Because you know what, blacks, Hispanics, and Native American Indians hereditarily have gone through so much that we've been able to cope with situations. We've been trained spiritually, man, in our own selves. We have been trained to get over these things. The white man will commit suicide. Go and kill his people, go and open fire on everybody, and that's the way he'll take it out. Us, we hold it in. And you know what? The proof is here in what's going on with Mexico and Spain today, when they're trying to ask Spain to say forgiveness. And I'm going to read a little bit more on this. It says, this is from the article, remember, of Mexico asking Spain to talk about the atrocities. I'm going to continue reading. It wasn't just about the encounter of two cultures, Mr. López Obrador said. It was an invasion. Thousands of people were murdered during that period. One culture, one civilization was imposed upon another, to the point that the temples, the Catholic churches, were built on top of the ancient pre-Hispanic temples. But what caught the attention of many critics in Mexico was his call for an apology. So let me tell you something. A lot of Mexican people, a lot of these politicians, right away they said, well, why are you even asking for an apology? They're like right away, man, you don't forget that. Don't even ask for an apology. You know why? Because our people are sellouts. Because our people would rather continue in this ignorance and in slavery than face what has happened to our people.
Right.
Right.
Our people would rather sell out and do this than to come and say, hey man, you know what? You guys did this to our people. And we deserve that you talk about it. And give us an apology. You got a precept on that? Bring it out. That you come and tell us what it was. But our people refuse to face the fact that these people have done this to us and that they're holding it. And that they'll continue thinking they're above us after all they've done to us. Let me continue reading. The Spaniards who stayed in Spain bear no responsibility for what happened 500 years ago, wrote one columnist, Sergio Sarmiento. Let me tell you something. You know where all the gold from Mexico went? It went to Spain. It went to the Catholic Church. It went to their country. They prospered from all that was stolen from us. Right. It's like saying that the company Chiquita Banana, known as the United Fruit Company, that they didn't have nothing to do with the enslavement of people from Honduras and Guatemala and Central America. It's like saying, you know what? We didn't do that. There was some supervisors and some managers that went out there and did that. But that's a lie. The United Fruit Company, known as Chiquita Banana today, they enslaved the people of Guatemala, of El Salvador, of Central America. And when those people decided, hey man, you know what, we're living in a low condition, and these people are making money not only off our labor, but off of our natural resource, off of our land. You know what, we should be paid fairly. You know what they did? They murdered those people. They started a civil war and brought war on these people and murdered them in the square. They went out and protested, and snipers were waiting for them. And they killed them right then and there. This is an atrocity committed on my brothers and sisters of Guatemala, of Honduras, of the Dominican Republic, of Panama, and all these countries. You know what the problem is? That when people like us come out and begin to tell this history, tell this story, people like these bastards in Spain decide, oh man, you need to forget about that. You need to put that to the side and move on. Let me tell you something. We will never move on.
Right.
We will never be content with letting this thing just go unheard of. We are here to speak up for our ancestors, for our forefathers that were robbed, raped, and murdered, and continue in ignorance because people like these Mexicans who said, oh man, you shouldn't even bring that up, are goddamn, ignorant. They're a shameful thing for Mexicans. They're the epitome of nothing to our people. You got that precept?
Come on, sir.
Read.
Hosea chapter 4 and 6. My people are destroyed for lack of knowledge.
Hosea 4 and 6. My people are destroyed for the lack of knowledge. Let me tell you something. Right here around me, none of my brothers are destroyed for lack of knowledge. We're here to spread, not only that do we know this knowledge, we're here to give it to you. That you understand that this is important. That you understand that the next time you go back and look at this tape, that you know the history that happened to our people. And the next time someone tells you, oh, Mexicans ain't Israelites, you tell them, man, God damn you for saying that.
Right.
God damn you for saying that the blacks are not Judah. God damn you for saying that the Native American Indian is not Gad. And God damn you for taking the side of the white man. You know what I'm saying?
Right.
Because you know what? We are not here to favor those that have robbed, raped, and murdered us. We're here to bring it out to the forefront what they've done to us. I'm going to continue reading this letter. Some noted that Cortez conquered the Aztecs in alliance with other indigenous communities, raising a question about whether Spain was the only one at fault. Here is those people that have sold out. Here are those black people that decide, hey man, you need to go to Christian church and forget about these Israelites. Forget about the ISUPK. Here are those people that say in Mexico, well, you know what? You need to forget about the conquest. You need to forget about this and that. In our time, during the conquest of Mexico, there was plenty of indigenous people who sided with the Spaniard. You know why they sided with the Spaniard? Because they were sellouts to our people. Let me tell you, have you ever heard the story of Three Bears? Three Bears was a Native American Indian chief. Three Bears thought that by signing a treaty with the white man, his tribe would prosper. Well, let me tell you something. Three Bears found out that that treaty he signed with the white man was a death sentence to his people. His people were murdered. You know what Three Bears did? You should look it up. Three Bears. You know what I mean? That was his name, Three Bears. What Three Bears did is he starved himself to death after he found out that that's what happened to his people. How do I know that? Because I have a painting of Three Bears. And that painting has been in my family a long time. And when I researched the history of Three Bears, I was amazed to understand what happened to that man. And he did it in good. He was like, man, maybe if I join hands with the white man, he's going to take care of me and my people. But Three Bears knew that the other tribes were like, you know what, we will never make a treaty with the white man. Let me tell you something. The Chichimeca, the Aztec Indian, the native Mexican Indian known as the Chichimeca refused to make a treaty with the Spaniard and the white man. The Chichimeca waged a war on the Spaniard that the Spaniard could no longer fight. The Spaniard had to make a treaty and say, hey man, you know what, we don't want to fight no more because you guys keep killing our people, keep destroying our towns, keep robbing our caravans, and they could not put up with the Chichimeca Indian. The Chichimeca Indian was a great tribe. The Chichimeca existed in Zacatecas, in Michoacán, in Jalisco, and in Durango, and these areas. The Chichimeca Indian could not be taken down. And if you know the history of Mexico, you would know that these Chichimecas were a strong people. And the Spaniard could not deal with them. So there was two types of people in Mexico. There was two types of people in America. There was two types of black men. There was the black man who was a coon, right? Who lived, who prospered in the white man's home. And then there was the Negro who was a slave. There was the Spanish man who was a slave. There was the Native American Indian who was a slave. That us, we would never join with these people. Today around me are my brothers, black, Hispanic, Native American Indians, that we will never join hands with these people. We will die in this truth like this than to join hands with an enemy who has hated us for 500 years.
And watch this. You got Psalms 55 and 20. You can look that up. Look up Psalms 55 and 20. You know, the white man, he's done all these things to us, and we look at him like he's God. Right. We look at him like he is an angel. You know, we look at him like he's bringing some type of light to us. You know, some type of things that we overlook. But we overlook our ancestors. Deuteronomy 32:7 tells you never to forget the past, to consider many generations. You know,
he hath put forth his hands against such as be at peace with him. He hath broken his covenant.
Is what?
Broken his covenant.
So he put his hand towards you like he's going to be at peace with you.
Right.
But he broke that agreement.
Right.
What happened to the Native Indians? What happened to all the treaties and the covenants that they made with the white man? Go ahead.
It's like I got a little article on what you're talking about the Native Indians, like a little paragraph. You want me to read it?
Go ahead, read.
Go ahead, read.
Come. Though the Native Americans helped many Spanish and French colonists whom they taught how to hunt, fish, and take care of themselves, these new discoverers still took the land, violated their host, and began a frantic hunt for natural resources. Native Americans who fought back over time were subjected to numerous forms of violence, such as raping, scalping, lynching, among other acts. Nevertheless, groups such as Lakota, Sioux, and Cheyenne have historically continued to fight European and white invasion and to organize movements and groups to this end. That's it right there.
That's it. See, there it is right there. They taught them how to live in the land. You know, our Native Indian brothers taught the white man how to live in this land.
Right.
But what did they give in return? Death, lynchings, molestations, rape, taking the money. There's a movie out called The Revenant. The Revenant. In The Revenant, when they were trading horses with the Native Indians, even in the script they had to say, you lied, told the white man, the Native Indian, he was a Pawnee, of the Pawnee tribe. He said, you lied. You said you was going to give us horses for these pelts. You lied.
Right.
And you know what the white man told him? I don't really give a damn. That wasn't in the script, but that's what was transpired. He's like, I don't care. You're going to have to just take this. We're not going to keep our promise with you. Go ahead.
I got more on that.
Oh yeah, go ahead.
This is verse 21. The words of his mouth were smoother than butter.
They were what?
Smoother than butter.
White man's words are smoother than butter. Native Indians say the white man speak with a forked tongue. So you got this coming out of his mouth, going every which way but the way you want it to go. Read.
But war was in his heart.
What was in his heart?
War was in his heart.
No, he gonna give back what was given to him. What?
War was in his heart.
No, he gonna love you. God bless America. What?
War was in his heart.
War was in this white man's heart. His words were smooth as all get out. I did not have sex with that woman. Yet he had a blowjob under the table.
Right.
Smoother than what?
Butter.
But what was in his heart?
War was in his heart.
The white man is at war with you. ISUPK has been teaching this since 1969.
Right.
The white man is a devil. We are in
Right.
a spiritual war, man.
That's right.
Gird up your loins and get in this truth, man. Get in this school. Learn this truth, man. We don't got but a little bit of time, because there's going to come a time when we're not going to have these classes, are we?
That's right.
We're going to be out hunting it. We're going to be out hunting. We're going to change from fishers to hunters.
That's right.
That's in scripture. We will be hunters. So get this truth. So war was in this white man's heart. Continue.
His words were softer than oil.
Softer than what?
Oil.
How soft is oil? You ever slid on some oil? You ever seen somebody slide on oil? That's just like sliding on ice. You know what I'm saying? That's soft. You know, you're going to go a long way with that. They use that to lubricate moving parts.
That's right.
You know, in an engine, you got to get an oil change. Smoother than oil. Good night. You have what? You could be at the Indiana 500, and you have a car with all that oil in it to make it go, 200-300 miles an hour.
Right.
But this white man's words are smoother than oil, man.
Right.
Read.
If I could too, sir, like an example would be when you talk to white people today, you go into your local CVS, they'll talk to you real nice.
Right.
In the world, you see it off the top in the world.
That's right.
Being in the truth, you can see, like you talk to them, and they talk to you to where they don't seem harmful. They seem real innocent,
Right.
real, delicate and nice people. But that's exactly what happened to the brothers we're speaking about right now, the Native Indians.
Right.
They saw them like, damn, they real, they nice. So they helped them, but they had no clue that inside they were ravening wolves. There were demons in there, and you know what I'm saying? They just wicked, but when you look at them, you can't tell. And that's what's so scary about the white, not scary, but what's so wicked about him. Right. He's so nice, but he's 10 times as wicked.
That's heavy what you said, B. That's right. It's what it is. He's so damn wicked that he comes to you smiling. He's that. That's deception. That's why we call that white man the devil. Go ahead, priest.
Salaki, if I could, the most subtle beast of the field.
Right.
The most subtle beast of the field is that white man. Right. His words are softer than oil. He sits up and smiles and talk with you, and you laughing and joking with you and everything. Yeah, he take you over. Just like Adawan was saying, CHAAZAQ was saying about how they came in and they were nice and everything. Right. They said these people should be slaves.
Right.
You know, they're willing to take a righteous spirit, a humble, righteous, innocent spirit of an individual and enslave these people. Continue reading.
Yet were they drawn swords.
They were what?
Yet were drawn. Salakia. Yet were they drawn swords.
No, we got the Catholic Church. What?
Yet were they drawn swords.
No, God loves everybody. Read.
Yet were they drawn swords.
Drawn swords. That white man got drawn swords. Who has the power of the sword? Anybody in the audience? Who has the power of the sword? What nation has the power of the sword? Go ahead, priest.
Esau, the Edomites.
Esau, the Edomites, had the power of the sword. Get that precept. Get that scripture right there. You know, the white man is in charge of everything right now. Right now, he's in charge of everything. We can get Job 9:24 too. Get Job 9:24. Let me know when you got it. And understand, yet they were drawn swords. He has peace, but they're drawn swords. How many times have you been on the street and you thought somebody was talking nice with you, but you found out you was getting stabbed in the back? That they were actually flipping the page on you and going out and telling everybody else some bad, wicked, negative things about you. Right, and you might have had to confront that person and break them off something. You know? Go ahead.
The book of Job, chapter 9, verse 24. The earth is given into the hand of the wicked.
Given into who?
Into the hand of the wicked.
No, we all Americans.
The earth is given into the hand of the wicked.
I thought God did love everybody. It was what?
The earth is given into the hand of the wicked.
Read.
He covereth the faces of the judges thereof.
This is how deceitful that white man is. He covered the faces of the judges, man. If you black, Hispanic, and Native Indian, your forefathers are the judges. We in the ISUPK are the judges now.
Right.
Understand that. He covered the faces of the judges.
Right.
Any more on that?
Come on, sir.
Read.
If not, where and who is he?
If it ain't the white man, who in the hell is he?
Right.
Who in the hell is putting all this death and murder in the earth?
Right.
Go ahead.
Because, sir, that's how you know, because when you look at Moses and you look at movies about the prophets, most familiar would be Christ. Christ is white. They put Moses white. Mm-hmm. They put all the prophets white. That's how you know is the white man that is talking about right here.
Absolutely.
Right? When they were really brown, dark skinned people, they were us. But the white man makes them look like him. That's how I know he's talking about him.
Get that scripture. You know what's in the Apocrypha. You go get that one?
No, so like you said, I got the one where Isaac, blessed him with the sword.
Go ahead.
This is Genesis chapter 27, verse 38. And Esau said unto his father, Hast thou but one blessing, my father?
Okay, now this is when Esau sold his birthright. And this is when their father, Isaac, was giving the blessings to his sons, Esau, who was the oldest, and Jacob, who was younger than Esau. Jacob got the blessing of the birthright, understand? But this is what Esau got. This is what he got when he asked his father. He's asking his father because he knew he jacked up. He knew he despised that birthright and he missed everything from the Most High. Read.
Bless me, even me also, O my father.
Say it again.
Bless me, even me also, O my father.
This is Esau pleading to his father. Bless me, father. Bless me. Give me something. I know my brother getting all of it. I know. Bless me. There got to be something left for me. This is what Esau's saying, that white devil. Read.
Come. And Esau lifted up his voice and wept. And Isaac his father answered and said unto him, Behold, thy dwelling shall be the fatness of the earth, and of the dew of the heavens from above. And by the sword shalt thou live.
By what?
The sword shalt thou live.
By what?
Sword shalt thou live.
Read.
And shall serve thy brother. And it shall come to pass, when thou shalt have the dominion, that thou shalt break his yoke from off thy neck.
See, Esau was serving his brother in the beginning. The elder will serve the younger. But there'll come a time where it says he shall break the yoke of his brother's chain, of his neck, and have dominion on this earth. But it said, by the sword shall he live. Esau has the power of the sword today. What's the example? Somebody give me an example. What's the example of Esau's power?
They got power today. What they did to us, what they done to the Judites, to the natives, the Mexicans of Native America, and they still haven't been held guilty.
I'll tell you how.
So, Lobby, how did they use that power? What type of what instrument did they use to get that power?
Let me jump in here real quick. I'll tell you that verse. Read that again.
Come.
I'm gonna show you how America has this power. From the end right there what you said.
Come.
I'm gonna show you how America has this power. How they have the sword. You know how you know they have the sword? Read.
Verse 40. And by the sword shalt thou live.
And by the sword shall they live. You know how you know America lives by the sword? Because America has destroyed Latin America for over 500 years. Because today America is trying to invade Venezuela and take Venezuela's oil by the sword. Because today America is creating a type of tension where they're taking Venezuela and making it look as if Venezuela is killing its own people, when in reality, it's America that's doing that to Venezuela.
Right.
And let me tell you something. America didn't only do that to Venezuela. America did that to Vietnam. America did that to Iraq. America did that to all countries of the world.
Right.
You know why? Because America lives by the sword. America didn't have to drop the bomb on Hiroshima, but they did anyways.
Right.
That's how you know America is Edom. That's how you know they live by the sword. Let me tell you, ain't no guns made in Mexico. There is no Mexican manufacturers of guns.
Right.
All guns are made in America. That's where they're made. All these things that are happening are made by Edom. The Russians are the same people. They make these weapons. And then they say, we're the ones who are doing this. You know what? Let me tell you something. Mexico didn't allow weapons in their country. But America flooded Mexico with weapons. And today, Mexico has been destabilized because America has chosen to destabilize a country and make it seem as if we're the enemy. Now we're rapists. Now we're murderers. Now we're robbers. Now we're thieves. But you know what? America is the true rapist. America is the true robber. America is the true person that destroys other nations. And within its own nations, it does its same thing. It kills blacks and Hispanics and Native American Indians within its own walls. And now it's going to build a wall around it, and it's going to call everybody outside of it an enemy. And it's going to call everybody within it, it's going to call that we are the good people. You know what? What happens with white people is that they try to make everything seem as if they're heroes.
Right.
They're the goddamn hero of everything. When you watch a movie, it's always an American white man who's the hero, who saved America, who saved the people, who saved everybody. But in reality, they never fit that description. I'll tell you who the real heroes are. The real heroes are the people on this side of the ISUPK.
Right.
We're the real heroes. You know why? Because we've decided to risk ourselves and speak this truth. Because we've decided to come out here and call on our people to come back into this truth. To come back and embrace who you really are. That you are the children of the Lord. That you are the children of Israel. That you are the descendants of Jacob. And that's why we're the ones who are speaking this. And just like my brother CHAAZAQ said, you know what? These people here are the ones that point the finger and say that we're the enemy. But in reality, they're the goddamn enemy.
Damn right.
They're the ones that are coming against us. They're the ones that today go out there and falsely accuse Venezuela of having no food in their stores. They're the ones who falsely go out there and say that Venezuela is not allowing any help to come into their country. But in reality, they're making a scenario, they're making a scene, they're creating a script that in America, everybody's believing it. But in reality, they're the ones doing the destruction. They're the ones doing all this to everybody. And us, we're over here thinking that we can hold hands with an enemy that has been an enemy to us forever. They have never showed compassion to us.
Right.
And today you're labeled black, you're labeled Mexican, you're labeled Indian. And why? Because with these names, they how could I say? They describe you as an enemy. I'm going to read a little bit more of that letter. I'm going to finish that letter just to show you what I'm talking about, right? Just for you can see what it is that I'm talking about. And it reads like this. This is the letter from Mexico to the Spaniard king in Spain, because he's asking them to apologize for the atrocities that they committed on Mexico. And you know what the king of Spain is saying? Actually, he's the prime minister, the foreign minister of Spain. His question is, are you guys trying to open up a Pandora's box? That's what he's asking Mexico. Are you trying to say this and open up a box, a Pandora's box? You know why a Pandora's box? Because once you open that box, everything is going to come out.
Damn right.
You're going to have to talk about what they did to the black slave in America. You're going to have to talk about what they did to the Native American Indian in America. You're going to have to talk about what they did to the Hispanic, the Mexicans, in not only in Mexico, but the Mexicans here in California. You're going to have to speak about what happened to these people and how white America did this to blacks, Hispanics, and Native American Indians. This is a Pandora's box. The minute this box is open, white people have to give account of why their ancestors did this to these people.
That's right.
What kind of people do we come from? What were our ancestors like that we now have to give account for their atrocities? And that's why they're afraid to even speak about it. Let me tell you something, man. You know, white people don't want to hear you speak, because once white people hear you speak, they know you're speaking the truth. And what you're saying is a sword to the soul. You know why? Because they know that all that we speak is a truth.
Right.
And if they acknowledge it, then they have to speak about what they did, what their ancestors did. And they don't want to speak about this. That's why they'd rather tell you, hey man, shut up. And you know what? They tell your brother, they tell your sister that you're crazy. You know why? Because they don't want it to spread. They don't want you to talk about it.
Right.
Because once you start talking about it, man, it's the Pandora's box, where they have to account for what they've done to these people. And let me tell you something. What they've done are atrocities. What they did to the children, what they did to the men and the women are known as atrocities.
Right.
This is not just a murder. This is not just a killing. This is the mass murder of millions of people. They want to point the finger at the Germans and say, man, they killed Jews.
Right.
Let me tell you something. The white people, man, they committed more. They committed a genocide against black, Hispanics, and Native American Indians. And to top it off, in our time, in our days, it still continues.
Right.
That's right.
They still have us in that same condition.
Right.
They're still killing black children on the street. They're still incarcerating your children, Hispanic people, in these detention centers. They're raping these children from the age of 10 to the age, man, probably even younger than that. They're raping these children. They're molesting these children. And they have to talk about these things. And you know what? They don't want to talk about it. You know why? Because they have shame to talk about these things. They don't want to say it because you know what? If they say it, they're condemning their own people, their own families, their own grandfathers. It was only less than 100 years ago when my Mexican people were being hung on trees.
Right.
It was only in the 60s when my black brothers were being beaten on the street, hosed down with water, and pushed out of their neighborhoods. It was only in the 60s when Mexican people were rallying about stop killing my children, stop killing Chicano kids on the street. It was less than 100 years ago when Pinochet went down to Chile and murdered Chilean people in the street because America put him into power. I'm going to finish reading this. One reporter asked the president why he was not demanding that France and the United States, which also invaded Mexico, apologize as well. And if Spain should apologize, critics said, shouldn't Mexico not apologize as well for its treatment of indigenous groups since the independence? Yeah, we're all guilty. The only difference is they've committed a genocide against our people. And they continue to do it to this day. We can still look back and say, you know what? We're angry at our brothers. We have beef with our brothers. But you know what? We can always do something about it. Let me tell you something. The Mexican president is being accused. It says Mr. López Obrador is accused of trying to create a distraction to divert attention from Mexico's problem, including brutal gang violence and the slowing economy. You know what happens? That they'll find any way to try to, shift what's going on to another cause. Go ahead.
Salaki, if I could, and that's the white man being the deceiver he is.
Right.
You know what I'm saying? Because both those problems are his fault. The guns, the gun walking operations,
right?
The whole drug cartels and all that, and everything that's going on in Mexico, even including the economy being bad, is the white man's fault.
Right.
You know what I'm saying? Specifically the Europeans, the Spaniards.
Right. And let me tell you something. Sean's right, because you know what? You got to understand that they did that during the Spaniard time, right? During the invasion. They didn't stop there. They continued. Every century they continued with a new method of destroying our people. And with that, I'm going to go into, you know what? How come we can only ask Spain to do that, but we should be asking the Catholic Church to apologize for what they've done to us? Because let me tell you something. The Catholic Church has raped and robbed Hispanics, blacks, and Native American Indians for centuries.
Right.
And they continue to do it to this day. And they are not accountable for the atrocities that they've committed. They should also be accountable for what they've done. And they've actually had people in history that today they want to make them seem as their heroes. Once again, the white man tries to make heroes out of their murderers, out of their demons, out of their monsters. Junípero Serra. You guys got anything on Junípero Serra? Junípero Serra. If you don't know the history of Junípero Serra, it's very important that you understand who this man was. You have something to read on him? Let me let Oscar Ward read on who Junípero Serra was, and I'm gonna send it out there for you brothers and sisters can research Junípero Serra, and you can understand the atrocities committed on Hispanic people. Read.
Junípero Serra's brutal story in spotlight as Pope prepares for condensation. Generations of American school children have been taught to think of Father Junípero Serra as California's benevolent founding father, a humble Franciscan monk who left a life of comfort and plenty.
Let me interrupt there. This guy was supposedly a humble Catholic priest who led a life of what?
Of comfort.
Comfort and what else?
And plenty.
And plenty. That means he was rich and comfortable. The Catholic Church made sure this monster lived right. Continue reading.
On the island of Mallorca, to travel to the farthest reaches of the New World and protect the natives from the worst abuses of the Spanish Imperial Army.
So this man, supposedly, he was protecting the native Indian. And protecting him from who? From his own people. Read.
Under Serra's leadership, tens of thousands of Native Americans across Alta California.
Now, Alta California is right, California, or anything across the border that we know, San Francisco, LA, the Central California, all the way up to Oregon. This was all Alta California. Baja California is Tijuana, all these places in Ensenada. That's Baja California. California has been around for a long time. Continue reading.
As the region was then known, were absorbed into Catholic missions. Places said by one particularly rapturous myth maker in the 19th century to be filled with songs, laughter, good food, beautiful languor, and mystical adoration of the Christ.
Right, so this man came and he gave all these promises, made it look like it was beautiful, made it look like everything was great, told the Indians, man, this is paradise, believe in Jesus, this white Jesus, he's going to save you, you're going to live in paradise. You got any more?
Sir.
Continue.
What this rosy-eyed view omits or leaves out is that these natives were brutalized, beaten, pressed into forced labor, and infected with diseases to which they had no resistance.
So these Indians were brutalized, were murdered, were raped, were given diseases. They were stripped of who they were, and they were taken to these places. They were forced to leave their heritage, their beliefs, their families, and become Christians. Continue reading.
And the attempt to integrate them into the empire was a miserable failure.
And the attempt to integrate them into the empire, what empire? The Spanish Empire, was a failure. Continue reading.
They were used as forced labor to build out the mission's farming projects.
So they were used as forced labor. Let me tell you something. The Spanish regarded the native Mexican Indian as depraved, degraded, savage, superstitious, wild, devil worshippers, and pagans. That's what they looked at them as. Continue reading.
Opponents point out that from the time Serra arrived in 1769, the native population was damaged by the European diseases.
So they destroyed the population of the native Mexican Indian when the Spaniard became the ruler over these people. And let me tell you something. Indians, or the Spanish and Native American Indian in California, could no longer pick their wives. They were banned from picking their wives. The Spanish overlords, or the Catholic Church, were the ones that decided who they were going to marry. That's who chose their people for them. Continue reading.
The native population was destroyed by European diseases, including syphilis, spread by invading Spanish soldiers.
So they spread syphilis among these people. You know why? Because these Catholic priests would rape the children, would rape the women. You know what? They didn't rape older women. They raped children. That's who they were raping. And they gave them syphilis because, man, the Catholic priests were pigs.
Right.
They were nasty people who didn't bathe, who were filled with all kinds of diseases. And they bring and gave it to our people. Continue reading.
Indians brought into the missions were not allowed to leave.
So what is the mission? The missions were these things that when you go to school, they tell you every year you're going to build a mission and you're going to talk about it, and make sure you talk real nice about it. Make sure you say the mission was a place where the Catholics and, they helped. They didn't help nobody. The missions were a concentration camp for the Native American Indians. Continue reading. You got it? Go read.
And if they tried to leave, they were shackled and severely beaten.
So if they try to leave the missions, if you try to leave a mission, you were shackled and you were severely beaten. I don't know if he's going to get to this, but they used to take the men and line them up on the side of the roads and kill them if they were a certain age. They would kill the elderly men and they would keep the young to try to bring them out. What is that? There's I think I have it right here. Continue reading.
Come. They were fed atrociously, separated from close family members, and packed into tight living quarters that often became miasmas of diseases and death. Right,
they became the epitome of disease and death for the native Mexican Indian. And let me tell you something. I'm reading out of an article that says this is the quote that these people had: "Kill the Indian in him and save the man." So what they would do, they would bring the native Indian, put him into these missions, and their goal was to kill your idea of being Indian. You did not want to think that you were Indian. Their goal was to kill them. Give me Deuteronomy 28 and 50. Their goal was to kill these people, to kill the Indian in you, to kill who you are, and make you a white man. You got that, brother? Deuteronomy 28 and 50. You got it? Read.
Deuteronomy chapter 28 and verse 50. A nation of fierce countenance.
A nation of fierce countenance. These are the Spaniards. They are a nation of fierce countenance. Why fierce? Because they hate everybody. They don't give a damn about anybody else but their own wealth, their own being, their own people. Read.
Which shall not regard the person of the old.
So they have no regards for your elderly, for your ancestors, for your reigning kings, for your your elders, those that had the knowledge, those that were spiritually right. They had no regards for these people. Continue reading.
Nor show favor to the young.
Nor favor our young. They were raping our children, man, because they had no faith. To us, to them, we were animals. To them, we were nothing. That's why they did that to us. Continue reading.
Verse 51. And he shall eat the fruit of thy cattle.
And you know what? They eat the fruit of our cattle. Our land, what we give, our fruit, our animals, what we so much had, they took that from us and ate it without any regard for us. Continue reading.
And the fruit of thy land.
And the fruit of our land. Read.
Until thou be destroyed.
And that's what we are today. Today we're destroyed. That means we don't know who we are. Man, we are completely destroyed. We are so destroyed that we think we're these people. That we think that we're half Spaniard. Let me tell you something, man. Black people think they're Africans.
Right.
Mexican people think they're Spaniard. Native American Indians think they're Americans. Who's more destroyed than us? You know what I'm saying? Go ahead, CHAAZAQ.
And also, hey, priest, go back to Sharwan. Go back to verse 41.
41?
Because we just talked about how the children were separated from the families.
Right.
Go to verse 41 in Deuteronomy 28. Let's go right there.
Thou shalt beget sons and daughters.
Thou shalt what?
Beget sons and daughters.
Thou shalt beget sons and daughters, which means you're going to give birth to sons and daughters in your own bloodline. And what? Read on.
But thou shalt not enjoy them.
Thou shalt what?
Not enjoy them.
You're not going to enjoy your own children, your own seed, your own people, the children that you're supposed to love, that you bring into the world. We just read from the articles that they're breaking the families up. What's happening in America with my ISUPK brothers?
Right.
You know what I'm saying? My brothers that are amongst me right now, they building a wall. They putting them in detention centers.
Right.
This is the reason why you could know ISUPK has the truth.
That's right.
Mexicans are Israelites, man. Let's get to the real chase of this thing. Okay,
Right.
I just wanted to reinforce that, even though we got the proof right here.
Right.
Read that again.
Thou, Deuteronomy 28 and verse 41. Thou shalt beget sons and daughters, but thou shalt not enjoy them.
Read.
For they shall go into captivity.
They shall what?
Go into captivity.
No, they're gonna be set free. They're what?
Shall go into captivity.
We in America. We got Donald Trump. What?
Go, it's like, shall go into captivity.
Go into captivity. The meaning of captivity, which we all know, most of us here know, captivity is slavery, man.
Right.
Captivity is when you serving your conqueror. Whoever conquered you, that's who you serving. So they shall go into captivity. That's the same thing that Judites go through. You know,
Right.
transatlantic slavery. That's why we don't act right now. We can't even get our minds right now.
Right.
You know, the Negro, so-called Negro, oh, he gonna go off on you. He gonna go off on himself. He gonna go off on his own damn people. Because he was given to another people. And he never got a chance to deal with his culture. He never got a chance to know what his native tongue was. He never got a chance to know what his customs were. But we realize now that blacks, Hispanics, and Native Indians went through the same crap.
Right.
The same damn crap.
Right.
And somebody give Psalms 58 and 3.
And I'm going to add that, you know, that you're saying, even to this day, they're doing the same thing. They're separating our families. You know what I'm saying? The Hispanic people are finding themselves in a time where they find it appropriate to separate the Hispanic families. And let me tell you something, I always say this, man. Hispanic people have a real strong tie with their family. We love our mothers, our fathers, our brothers, our sisters. You know, we're the type of people that we can hang out with our families. You know what? We have a love for that. And today we find ourselves on the brink of the destruction of the proper threading of Mexican families. And they're trying to destroy that. They're trying to tear us apart. If we're not careful, there's going to be generations of children growing up not knowing what the family structure is like. They're going to grow up not knowing that they had a mother, that they had a father, that they had a sister. And their generations are going to grow up seeing the same thing. What happened to my black brothers is the same thing that's going to happen to Hispanic people. In the 70s, they separated the black families. And today in the 2000s, it seems like it's just a rarity to see a good black family together. Native American Indians, the same thing. But you know what? That's why it's an appointed time. It's time that we see this and we learn to decipher the plan that they have and understand that it's time we put a stop to that. And we help wake up our brothers and sisters that this doesn't happen to us and that we are able to, you know what? Let the Mexican family structure be like a pillar for all other Israelite brothers and sisters, all other black Hispanics and Native American Indians, that they can see that it's important to have a structure of family and love one another and learn to love one another and stay with each other no matter what. Go ahead.
Damn right. You know, they had a little while back. Remember, they had a whole bunch of Mexicans were working in a goddamn warehouse, and they did some old foul stuff to them. And they all walked off at one time. Remember?
Right.
And you know who? Go ahead. What?
It was a Judite brother filming it.
That's what I'm getting ready to say. It was one of my brothers from my tribe, from Judah. A Negro, a so-called Negro, was taping the whole damn thing.
Right.
And you know what he said? He was like amazed. He made a great statement. He said, "How come us brothers can't do the same damn thing?"
Right.
See, when Issachar stands with their family, they mean that. They mean that.
Right.
They mean that. Our brothers need to start doing that. Matter of fact, the whole entire 12 tribes of Israel needs to get with family and get with each other. Somebody get Zephaniah 2:1. Give me Zephaniah 2:1, man. We need that unity, man. We need that today. These brothers walked off they shut the whole goddamn factory down, didn't they?
Right.
Shut the whole factory down because they were being mistreated, man. Imagine if Israel, of all the 12 tribes, Cubans, Puerto Ricans, brothers, Native Indians, Mexicans, Salvadorians,
Central Americans,
all of us, Levites with Haiti, Dominica, all of us turn that love inward to our own nation. You know how great we'll be? We bring that out in ISUPK. Imagine all that love, man, to us. All that brotherhood, because I don't want to even sound Christian. All that brotherhood to us. Limitless.
And let me tell you something, that Hispanic people, this is in us. This is something that we're bred with. Like, this is a natural reaction for us, because in the 60s, man, we walked off the jobs.
Right.
The 60s, we were like, no way, man, you're not going to do this to us. Cesar Chavez gathered his people during the strikes of the grapes and decided, you know what, you're treating our people wrong, and people rallied against him. Rallied with him, Salakia, rallied with him, and they were like, you know what, he's right. And people walked out and marched against what was going on. Why? Because it's in us already. During the revolution, Mexican Revolution, people were like, you know what? Mexican people are like that. We were like, you know what? You're right. We need to stand up. We need to do this. In this time, Mexican people, once again, the call is out. Hispanic people, Latin American people, the call is out that we need to rally once again. And this time, it's for all the 12 tribes. Black, Hispanic, and Native American Indian. It's time we rally, but this time, we rally with our brothers and our sisters, because this time it's all of us together. This is not just Issachar. This is not just Judah. This is not the Black Panthers, the Brown Berets, the Native American Indian movement. This is one big family. Blacks, Hispanics, and Native American Indians realizing that what has happened to us has happened across the board to all of us. And that it's time that we bring together this movement that's going to bring us back together again.
Salaki, that was so powerful. I didn't even really want to do that, but it's Salaki for real. But you got the Zephaniah 2:1?
Yes,
read that, because that goes right there with it.
Come on.
Read
This is Zephaniah chapter 2, verse 1. Gather yourselves together.
Do what?
Gather yourselves together.
What did the priest say?
Gather yourselves together. Yea, gather together, O nation, not desired.
O nation what?
Not desired.
No, nation loved by everybody.
Not desired.
No, they're trying to emasculate our women, our men.
Not desired.
Oh, no, they don't want the families together.
Not desired.
They're killing each other in the penitentiaries.
O nation, not desired.
Planned Parenthood with the abortions.
Not desired.
What the priests bring out is right and exact, and it's very heavy, and I had to lay that down. That's a lot for that. But that's what it's about, man. We got to come together, man. This is so damn important, man. What are you doing? What else are you doing in this world? What's so important that you can't join your brother, man?
Right.
What else is so important, man?
Right.
You better look at the statistics of what's going on, man.
Right.
Look at the statistics, man. Look at how you've been hunted, and this is not something that you just don't know.
Right.
You heard this before. This has been going on, and it's getting worse. It's getting worse. You know, the Most High is coming for us. He's sending Yahushua, the so-called Christ. He's sending Christ to us, Yahushua, to save us, man.
The prison complex.
Look at these prison complexes,
right?
Man. Look at what they're doing. They're making money, right? Isn't that a multi-billion-dollar establishment? Prison.
It's the new plantations.
Thank you.
That's what that is.
They have more prisoners than they had in the transatlantic slave trade.
Right.
There's more brothers in prison now than they had during the transatlantic slave trade. But you're not doing your research. You want to go home and watch Power. You want to go home and watch all these damn series. You know what I mean? You want to go over here. You don't want to open up a book.
Right.
Well, this is where all the secrets are. This is where the truth is. You don't want nobody to lie to you, but you're lying to yourself.
And let me tell you something, Shadara. What happens here is that we've been mentally trained to accept the way we are today. And what the brother Oscar War is bringing out about Junípero Serra, was like the beginning of how we were trained to accept our demise. How we were trained to be okay with what the Spaniard, the English, the French, the Portuguese, the Dutch, what they did to us. What they did to us was to prepare us. What is that book that they wrote for the blacks on how to treat them?
Willie Lynch.
The Willie Lynch letters. Well, Junípero Serra wrote the Willie Lynch letter for the Native American, Indian, Mexican. They wrote of how we were supposed to accept the baptism. We were supposed to accept that we leave everything we knew and became Catholics and Christians. We were supposed to accept that we were less than they were. We were to look at them fearfully and see them as our as our masters. You know what I'm saying? That's how we're trained. And today, we're so dead that when we see white people, we think that they're better than us. We still think and see them as that they're more educated. That they're right and we're wrong. That when a white man speaks to you, you have to shut up and listen. They're even so obnoxious that they'll be like, hey, and they'll stop you from talking. That they're better than you are. And you know why? Because we've been trained for over 500 years to accept that. That's why it's time to decolonize your mind.
Right.
And it's time to see things different.
Right.
And see yourself as a powerful person. You ain't just a normal man. You ain't just Oscar War. You ain't just Shot a Rock. You ain't just, CHAAZAQ. You a powerful person that the Lord has chosen to come and do this work.
Damn right.
Now when you do this work, you're not just anybody. Let me tell you something. All the brothers in this truth, man, you ain't just anybody. The Lord has chosen you. You have been given a position above everybody. You're a person that when people see you, they better almost kneel down to you. Because you are the power. Right. The Lord has given you that.
That's right.
The Lord has chosen you to not only be just just someone on the street. Man, you are an ordained preacher of the Lord. You have been chosen to do this work. And with that, you carry a power. You no longer have to look at people as if they're more than you.
Right.
When you go to work, you should understand that everybody around you is nothing compared to what you are when you're in this truth. When you're in the ISUPK, man, you have come in to hold the position above everybody. Go ahead.
Also, too, sir, when you come into the truth, that's something that you realize little by little. You see people and you think, like they know what's going on, but you talk to them and you realize that they're asleep.
Exactly.
Right.
You don't really understand how woke you are or how awake you are when you come into the truth, because you're learning things that nobody else is learning.
Right.
You in here and you forget how lost your brothers are in the world, and when you're around them, you don't realize it until you talk to them.
Right.
That's right.
And then the other thing you said about Esau, also in here, man, like it's a beautiful thing when you actually know that the white man is less.
Right.
It's like a big burden that comes off of you, because now you're around white people, you don't look at them the same. You look at them for what they are.
Right.
In the world, it was like they was angels. They just like, oh my God, blonde hair. But now it's like you see them and you're like, he's underneath me. You know what I'm saying? That's like a great feeling to have and to know, because I know in the world I sometimes think how I would walk in the world and I would be way different. And
right.
Being the truth, it changes your whole mind, and learning the truth puts a whole new spirit in your mind. You walk around different, knowing the truth.
Damn right, preacher. I got two things with that. One thing is when you was in there thinking that the white man was so greater than you,
right.
You used to walk up to one with the suit and the tie, and you look at him like you put your head down. Some of y'all put your head down. You know what I mean?
Right.
He got a suit and tie on, and he got blonde hair and blue eyes, and he came out of that corporate building over there. That's my dad. That's more, and we look at that's more than my dad. And we look, and some of you out here that are new, I'm not going to blame you for this, but give me Ecclesiastes 7:7. Give me Ecclesiastes chapter 7 and verse 7. Because some of y'all that are new might be looking at us like this. You know, we might have some new viewers, I don't know.
Right.
And you look at us like we're angry. I'm going to speak to you about angry. You got it out?
Oh, God.
Read it.
Ecclesiastes chapter 7 verse 7. Surely oppression maketh a wise man mad.
What?
Maketh a wise man mad.
Surely what?
Oppression maketh a wise man mad.
What is oppression, priest?
Oppression is when another nation is above you, when you're a slave.
Damn right. Oppression is when another nation is above you, has abused you, has beguiled you, has lied to you, has told you things that never came true, has actually said that you don't know nothing.
Right.
How can you not know nothing? It's because you're not looking. You're not looking for this truth.
Right.
You're not trying to go through these scriptures and really look through. Buy these books, man. Buy these books. What are they, Amazon, $13?
Right.
You know, Amazon, 20-something dollars. I used to make it when I first got with UPK. I used to make it my point to buy a book at least once a month or once a week. And then I made it a point to start cracking these books open because they look nice on the shelf. God damn it. Christians keep their Bible on the shelf and let it collect dust. I open these books, man. Because surely what?
Oppression maketh a wise man mad.
Surely oppression makes a wise man mad. You are right now viewing wise men before you.
Right.
The men of the Lord. The men that God has chosen. Because just like the priest was saying, we didn't choose the Most High. The Most High chose us, man, to give this truth. We carry the burden to give this truth out.
Right.
And we carry that burden with some humility and with some zeal. We carry it with zeal, man. With energy. With the importance that we know that our nation is destroyed by lack of knowledge.
Right.
If I could, I want to bring a precept of what I was saying. You know, once again, like, man, like the Esau, we see him today as someone good. Like what's his name? The priest we're talking about?
Junípero Serra.
They try to make him seem so good and so righteous, just like every other white man, like Trump today. You can even compare to Trump. They make him seem so good, and they look at us like garbage. Like Native Indians, they looked at them like garbage. Like they were nobody. They had no type of a moral structure. They had no type of logic. When we taught them how to clean themselves, how to survive,
everything.
But they lie. They make themselves look righteous and make us look dirty.
That's right.
And
when
it's really they're filthy and disgusting, and they're the garbage of the earth, and we are the royal and the gold and the precious people on the earth.
Damn right. Damn right.
I just want to bring the scripture out. Isaiah 40:15. Behold, the nation is the Lord thinks of the nations. Behold, the nations are as a drop of a bucket, and are counted as small as the dust of the balance. Behold, he taketh up the idols as a very little thing. All nations before him are as nothing, and they are counted to him less than nothing in vanity. That's just heavy because, you know.
And that's, you know what, that's so heavy because not only do we find it, and I'm sure you know this, priest, not only do we find this in the King James Version, well, the Bible, we find this in the Apocrypha as well, that the nations are less than the nations of Israel.
Right.
Every nation, not just other nations, the white man, but every nation is nothing but what? A drop in a bucket.
Right.
But the Apocrypha gets a little graphic with it, don't they?
Of course.
Anybody getting that? Anybody getting that precept? That's right. The nations don't mean a damn thing to the Most High because this here book was written. This was written for the Israelites and for the Israelites only.
That's right.
There's something that is good news to you if you're Black, Hispanic, and Native Indian.
Right.
That this is an exclusive thing, which means it's only meant for you.
Right.
But we have such a slave mentality that you can't believe that something was made for you. That was so great. that is actually the greatest. Like Ali, he said he was the greatest.
And let me tell you something, CHAAZAQ, that what we're here to do, we're here to just deliver a message of hope to the Black, the Hispanic, the Native American Indian.
Damn right.
That's what our mission is here. The Lord has chosen us to deliver a message of hope. Why do we need hope? Because you know what? Our people are drug addicts.
Right.
Our women are prostitutes.
Right.
Our people are ignoring what's happening to our children. Our people have chosen to, go into, the movie industry, the music industry, choose to do other things than to call out our people. Because we've chosen to be taken by the simple things in life, by America's way of life, than to, man up and say, you know what, this is happening to my people. Instead of having compassion for our own, we choose to join hands with the enemy that has destroyed us for over 500 years.
American dream.
And that's why we're here to show a message of hope to Black, Hispanics, and Native American Indians.
Also, too, so I want to touch that hits a little button in me of these damn, because there's Hispanic coons,
right?
Mexican coons who want to support Trump, be on Trump's Salakia, on his.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying? Right. It's disgusting. It's just like good night. Because like I was saying, even back then there was coons.
Right.
It's never gonna stop. People don't realize that though. They think coons is just the brothers, but it's also Hispanic brothers.
Yeah.
No, so like I said, the brown noses. But I got the precept for the
Go ahead.
Second Esdras. This is Second Esdras, chapter 6, verse 55. All this have I spoken before thee, O Lord, because thou hast made it the world for our sakes. And as for the other people, which also come of Adam, thou hast said that they are nothing.
They are what?
Nothing.
They are what?
Nothing.
Man, they are nothing. To the Lord, all the other nations are nothing. They are like what?
But be unto spittle.
But be unto spittle. That's spit. That's not even spit. That's the backdrop of spit. That's what they are. They are nothing. We're those people that the Lord has chosen. But yet we choose to walk in the shadow of our enemy. We choose to be the back of what they are. We choose to serve the man who has robbed, raped, and murdered us and has put us in a position where we look at ourselves as less than. You know, your brother, you talk about the white man, your brother defends him. You talk about the white man, your dad defends him. Your sister defends him. You people defend him more than they defend you. You're over here telling your brother, I love my people and I hate the white man. And they'll tell you you're wrong. Why? Because you love your people or because you hate the white man? I'll tell you what it is. It's because they love the white man so much that they have not been able to let go of what they've done to them for over 500 years. Let me tell you something. Me, CHAAZAQ, and all my brothers here, we're the voice of our forefathers that have been oppressed. And we're calling out those descendants of those people at an appointed time that we might all come up and speak the way we speak. That we might all come out and pull our people out from this darkness, from this place of captivity. Because that's what we're doing here. We're held captive. We're people that are being ignored of who we really are. Right. We have a crown that we have not even seen. Right. We are soldiers that we do not know who has been asleep. Right. We are the chosen that have been forgotten. We are those people that need to wake up. Let me tell you something. When you speak the way we speak, you live forever. Right. You may die, but your voice will ring forever. People will remember who you are because you chose to speak. Who has forgotten about Emiliano Zapata? Who has forgotten about Pancho Villa? Who has forgotten about these heroes who spoke? Well, these heroes that you see here in the ISUPK will never be forgotten. The Lord will hold us high because we are those people at an appointed time who chose to risk ourselves and call our people out to join us in this here. Man, we don't hold ourselves up. we hold our people up. Because our children are being held in the detention centers. Our people are being killed in Mexico. Our people are being murdered in Central America. Our black brothers are being held in the prison system here in America. Our black brothers are being killed on the street. We're the ones being oppressed. So let me tell you, it's time we all wake up. It's time we all get in here. It's time we all join the ISUPK and get into these ranks. Right. Wear that black. Get your name. Get your rank. And move up in here and join us every time we come out here and speak for our brothers and sisters.
Damn right. You know, and also Planned Parenthood is even going crazy, done run amok. They talking about if you have sex with unprotected sex now, it's you're gonna get charged with aggravated assault. What is it? Aggravated assault. Just because you didn't want to use those skins on your woman.
Right.
You know what I'm saying? Right. Aggravated assault. Look at the big picture. This is called genocide. This is genocide. Right. 650,000 abortions.
Right.
Per year, 350,000 abortions. 350,000, 600. That sounds like genocide to me. You know, and we talked about wicked Israelites. Well, let's go to give me Maccabees 1 and verse 11. First Maccabees 1 and verse 11. Because there's a lot of coonery out there.
Right.
A lot of coonery, we call it, you know, Jews.
Damn right.
You a damn coon. You love this white man so much. Look at Kanye West. But that flipped on him. Now he a slave for the rest of his life now. He gotta work. He can take like 2 weeks off, but he gotta perform for the rest of his goddamn life. And that's the one that was sitting in Donald Trump's lap. Coonery. You got it out? Read.
First Maccabees chapter 1 verse 11. In those days when they're out of Israel, wicked men.
Out of where?
Israel, wicked men.
No, just white people. Where?
Wicked. Out of Israel, wicked men.
Out of Israel.
Right.
Wicked men.
God.
So what makes you think here, fast forward in 2019, that our brothers and sisters are not wicked?
Right.
And what makes you think you got to stop serving the Lord or even believing in your nation, even though they're wicked?
Right.
You got to stand for something, or you're going to fall for everything. And what's worse is the Lord is going to kill you, man, for not recognizing and loving your people and having the compassion of Christ. Christ had compassion for his people, no matter what they did. Remember the Sadducees and Pharisees said, why are you sitting with the publicans? Why are you sitting with the harlots? Christ said, if you're not sick, you don't need no goddamn physician.
That's right.
If I'm not sick, I don't need a doctor. You need a doctor if you're not sick? My people are sick, man.
Right.
And we're going to sit with them. We're going to feed the hungry. We're gonna make the blind see. We're going to make the dead speak. We're going to give them that knowledge. We're going to beat them demons up off them if we got to.
Right.
We're going to knock them demons up off you. You understand me? Right. Read, continue.
Who persuaded many.
Who what?
Saying. Who persuaded many.
I'm going to stop you one more time. Who persuaded. See, when you're a coon, not only you're a coon for yourself, but you stop your brother from dealing with the truth because you such a goddamn coon. You make him follow you, and both of you fall in the ditch. When the blind follow the blind, they both fall in the goddamn ditch.
Right.
That's biblical too. That's in scripture, right?
That's Christ.
That's right. The priests already know. Christ said that when the blind follow the blind, they both fall into a ditch.
Right.
Salaki. Read.
Saying, let us go and make a covenant with the heathen that are round about us.
Make a what?
A covenant with the heathen that are round about us.
A covenant. What's a covenant, priest?
An agreement.
An agreement.
Right.
Let us make an agreement with the heathen.
Right.
Non-Israelites that are around about us. Let's make a covenant with the Chinese, with the African, with the East Indian.
Right. Make an agreement with these same people.
That's my
when
point.
you go out and you join their basketball teams, their football teams, and all their sports teams, you make an agreement with these people. And your agreement is to be a slave to these people. and to make sure that they get on top and you stay at the bottom. They'll give you your shine for a while and then you're forgotten. You know what I'm saying? And you know what? They get rich and you get broke. And then they slander your name and they make sure you never keep those riches.
Damn right. The music industry.
That's right. The music industry.
The acting industry.
The acting industry. Ain't none of those people kept their riches. Their riches are passed down to who? To the white people.
Red
to
Fox.
The owners. Exactly.
Wesley Snipes.
All of them.
You know, Sophia Stewart wrote The Matrix.
Right.
And she had to sue them for 30 years just to get that money back because
Damn
they
right.
stole her material.
Right.
Sophia Stewart wrote The Matrix and The Terminator.
That's right.
And you know what I found out? She was writing about black superheroes.
Right. How about Michael Jackson?
You know?
That's another one right there.
Mm-hmm.
None of his money stayed with him. Mm-mm. They manipulated that brother right there to lose everything he had and give it to who? To those white kids.
White man.
That's right.
O.J. Simpson.
Bill Cosby.
May not be a good example, but O.J.
Right.
Simpson.
Well, it's
all that
you know
money
what?
went
None
to,
of them are
you
good
know?
examples because the minute that you go into their industry, you can never be a good example.
Damn right.
You can never be a good example. But just to show you that once you join them, you know you might as well get rid of everything you have. You signed your life away to these people, and they don't give a damn about you. Just like, you know, always they'll use you, they'll take you, and they'll push you to the side because Judah is the salt of the earth, and so is Israel. And we make these people rich. We bring these things to them, and they prosper, while us, we go into demise.
Damn right.
I'm gonna tell you something because we got a few minutes left, and you know, to go back into the topic of what I started with about Spain and Mexico. Mexico trying to get an apology. We covered a lot of stuff today. If you know, if you're just tuning in, go back and check out the show. We've covered a lot of things today. You know, as always, we try to bring out the most important parts of what's going on with our people today. Today, my topic was on Mexico asking for an apology from Spain for what they did during the conquest of Mexico, and how Spain has refused to give them the apology. You know what? I think America, the black people in America, have been asking for reparations.
Absolutely.
And they've been refusing to give the black people reparations. The Native American Indian has been asking for his land back, and they've refused to give these people their land back. The Black Hills of North Dakota, they were black territory, or they were Native American Indian territory, and since they want to bring that pipeline through there, they've taken that from them too. The Mexican is today asking for an apology or a sit down to talk about what happened during the times of the conquest of Mexico, the atrocities, and the Spaniards have refused to apologize for what they did. As a matter of fact, the Pope, the Catholic Pope, said that he's no longer going to take his trip to Mexico because of Mexico asking for that apology. So that just goes to show you what they think about us. To this day, the Pope has decided, you know what, I'm no longer going to make my usual rounds in Mexico in 2021 because Mexico chose to bring out to the forefront the atrocities committed on them. That just goes to show you that they all think the same. Every time a white man sees you, he sees you as less.
Right.
If you're Mexican, you're a thief. If you're a black man, you're a threat. If you're a Native American Indian, you're lazy and a drunk. That's the way they've seen us. That's the way they've always seen us. And it's time that we wake up and start to wake our people up, that they might all come into this realization that we are the most important part on this earth, that we are the 12 tribes of Israel, and that without us, this place would be nothing.
Right.
America is built on the blood, bones, and tears of black Hispanics and Native American Indians.
Right.
And don't let anybody tell you anything different. Because to this day, when you call a plumber, a Mexican is going to show up. When you call and your roof is leaking, a Mexican is going to show up. When you go to a restaurant to eat, there's a goddamn Mexican and a black in the back working in the restaurant.
Right.
Blacks and Hispanics are everywhere. We do everything for these people. And yet they make us seem as if we're the enemy, as if we're the threat, as if we're these people that are a problem in America. Right. We have been the ones to support America since the day they invaded this place. Without us, America would be nothing. America has never been great because blacks, Hispanics, and Native American Indians have been enslaved to it since the day they set foot here. So it's time we remember that and that we wake up to this reality. We're the ISUPK coming out of 125th Street, Harlem, New York City. And we're here every Wednesday to bring this inconvenient truth. Why is it an inconvenient truth? Because it doesn't benefit certain people. But it benefits you if you're Black, Hispanic, or Native American Indian.
Right.
And you should tune in every week and understand that what we're speaking about here is a truth that hits down to the bone and to the core and to the soul. And that it's up to us to bring this truth out. Come into the ISUPK. Get your name, get your rank, and come out and speak this truth. Don't forget, we got the Passover coming up. Tell them about the Passover.
Passover is going to be the 50th annual Passover. It's going to be held in Jamaica, Queens, New York, under the Commanding General Hanna. If you Black, Hispanic, and Native Indian, you need to be there. It's going to be April 20th. April 20th is the Passover. I believe it's what, $200 a family?
$200 a family.
About $200 a family.
Right.
And if you're in ISUPK, get with your camp leader if you can't afford that.
Right.
They're going to make certain provisions. It's going to be excellent because they're going to have a laser show, laser tag for the kids. That's going to be excellent this year. This year is going to be something else.
Right.
The children are going to be involved and they're going to be, taken care of and they're going to have fun. We all going to have fun because we make it every year. The Lord commands you every year to go to the Passover, to keep his holy days.
Right.
Forget all those holidays you've been following. Those holidays are of this world, and it's not of the Lord.
Right.
The Lord's annual Passover, the 50th annual Passover, Queens, New York.
That's right.
It's going to be at the Hilton.
Right.
I believe it's going to be at the Hilton Hotel, and we're going to have a great and glorious time.
Right.
So make that.
Let me tell you something. Just like CHAAZAQ said, join us for the 50th annual Passover. It's the 50th Jubilee. You know what? You got to be there. Make sure you straight. Make sure you get there and join us all. Man, with that, that's our class today, the Wednesday class, Inconvenient Truth. Don't forget to log on to the Inconvenient Truth, CHAAZAQ on Facebook. You know what? Push that button. Subscribe to us. We're going to try to get that page going just in case, we find ourselves not here no more. You can always join us at on our page at the YouTube channel. So make sure you join us there. Man, I'm glad all y'all joined us. Man, I'm happy to see everybody on this page. If you got any questions or anything, you know what? Always type them up. We're going to try to get there. We're going to try to answer those questions. You can log on or send me a message for the next show. If you want me bring up a topic or bring up a precept you want to break down, go ahead and log on and shoot that to us. We're going to get to it on our next show. I want to thank everybody for joining us. Once again, this is the ISUPK 125th Street, Harlem, New York City, straight out of California. Officer CHAAZAQ 5000 right here breaking it down.